So Alex, I wanted to move on a little bit, perhaps ever so briefly, into the world of monitors. Because actually, I was kind of disappointed by the CES. I had a number of monitors I wanted to take a look at. There was a 3D monitor that we unfortunately did not have the time to take a look at because it was located at a different site. It was the Samsung 6K 32-inch glasses-free 3D monitor. That was pretty cool, potentially. There was also an LG 27-inch, I think 5K 165 hertz monitor with 2,304 dimming zones, I believe.
Right.
It looked like a really cool Mac monitor to me. It looked like the perfect evolution over my studio display, which while it's a quite good 5K display, is uniformly lit. It has a uniform backlight, has a pretty laggy IPS panel. It's only 60 hertz. It is 5K, it's super crisp, but I would like an upgrade. I think Apple will probably deliver an upgrade to that studio display later this year, so that's what I'm looking forward to. But I was considering this monitor as a potential alternative to that. Unfortunately, I was not able to see it. It seemed like LG really wanted to showcase their most exciting products, right? So they showed us some interesting, they even had some, I think 5K, 2K monitors out there,
Right.
but they did not actually have this 27-inch monitor that I would be quite so fond of. But we did see a lot of monitors in our time at CES, just not a whole lot that really stood out to us. There were a lot of 4K 240 hertz monitors, those classic 32-inch 4K OLEDs. Alex, those were really common last year, not nearly as common this year. In terms, at least in terms of their placement at this show, in terms of their promotion at the show, we're pretty used to seeing those monitors, but there is an evolution of that QD OLED tech potentially here that was shown off by Asus at their booth. I believe they're calling it, I can't quite tell, it's either Dark Shield or Black Armor. I believe between them and MSI, they've come up with different names for what is fundamentally the same kind of display coating technology. Could you describe the kind of differences that we observed with a QD OLED with this Dark Armor technology, with this Black Shield technology, and without the last generation model?
So basically they had them arrayed side by side, and in a very well lit room, which this was, it was, you know, very well lit. It's artificial lighting inside a, you know, completely closed off area, very well lit. The two monitors side by side, with the difference between them being essentially the coating on the monitor, this Black Shield, Black Armor, Dark Shield stuff on it. The subjective appraisal is, oh, this red is much more saturated on the newer Dark Armor one, and it doesn't look as if the surface of the screen is capturing as much of like that diffuse reflection from the lighting around it. So it looked a lot less purple in this lighting, like the black looked less purple. I hope that comes across in the footage that Oliver took of it. I mean, it's a nice advancement for well-lit environments, which is this thing, an area where OLEDs have struggled in the past due to brightness concerns and whatnot. But here, it was a bit kind of an artificial setting. On a technical level, if you're playing this in like a normal, slightly darker room, it probably wouldn't be that big of a difference. But here, definitely you could see it. One thing that we did notice is these QD OLEDs didn't have any of the stuff to prevent color fringing, so I believe both had color fringing, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. Yeah.
So still color fringing. That tech wasn't in. Something to prevent that was not in these group of monitors.
Yeah, and I would actually have to say that, I mean, listen, I did see the difference in a well-lit room. I did see the difference. But obviously, in a dark room, which is the ideal playing scenario for an OLED monitor when you're actually gaming, you would not really notice the difference, I suspect. I don't think you'd notice that kind of magenta hue, that kind of blooming over the display. And also to really see it, like to really properly see it and appreciate it, they were shining a bright little LED light, super bright LED that we might see used for photography purposes or filming purposes.
Yeah, no one would do that. That's crazy.
No one would do it. It's like almost comical the extent to which you'd have to go through to really show like a super meaningful difference that someone, a casual observer, would look at and be like, oh wow, that's a big difference. You know, this is not the kind of technology that you should be upgrading your OLED for. Even that kind of, you know, looking at this footage just now, the side by side, I mean, it is a little bit more of a saturated red. I don't know that it makes a huge difference.
I mean, it was slightly more visible than in the footage, but like at the same time, like it wasn't like, this wasn't the most interesting demo by far. Right next to it, we also saw an RGB OLED demo. Unfortunately, this one, due to we got interrupted while we were talking about it, so I didn't get a greater look at it. But the advantage of this one should technically be no fringing on like yellow. And I swear, when we looked at the text inside Battlefield 5 running on it, I swear there was fringing on the yellow text.
Yeah.
Even though that is, I'm sure that is what this technology is supposed to be preventing.
Yeah.
I cannot completely comment on as to why that was the case, but it was the case. Maybe because it was set up to be 422 in the control panel, or 420 because the person who was doing this display set it up wrong. I don't know why, but it definitely had color fringing.
Yeah, that was certainly an area of some concern. I'd also have an area of some concern with people who buy these gigantic multi-monitor curved OLED setups to play racing games. Now, maybe this is a very specific objection. It's actually something that Alex said that I'm now stealing for the purposes of this discussion. But he pointed out, why would you have one of these crazy racing setups? Indeed, we saw some really crazy ones. Like at LG, they had this gigantic, I think, 39-inch 5K OLED, 5K 2K OLED monitors in this racing setup with like tilt, pan, vibration, all this crazy stuff. This guy's really locked in here. He's going nuts. He's going crazy. This looked fantastic. But number one, why wouldn't you just use a VR headset in this scenario?
Yeah.
That's my first objection. The second objection is that driving these massive 5K displays, the game's running at like 40 FPS.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. And also 5K at that distance, you're not going to be getting any of that. The pixel density
That's well past Retina resolution.
Yeah, it's like it's like this is totally demo stuff that doesn't like. There's no purpose. I would totally rather at the Pimax booth. We didn't actually try it out, but the Pimax booth did show the VR equivalent of this, and I can imagine that is only so much more interesting from a simulation perspective. So we saw a number of those, and we just kind of questioned what the utility of them was.
I would say that's like a big issue in general with CES, is just seeing something that looks absolutely wild, absolutely insane, but having absolutely no idea who it's for, or having absolutely no idea why you wouldn't just go with another clearly better solution. I mean, maybe I can see some scenarios where ultra-wide monitors are more useful than a VR headset in some gaming scenarios, yes. But in this particular gaming scenario, it feels like if you're actually sitting down into a racing sim, you're getting strapped in, why not just strap on a VR headset?
Yeah,
and have a nice field of view. I mean, even like, I remember PSVR 1 playing Drive Club. That was pretty incredible back in the day. I think I'd prefer that to a lot of these setups, at least in terms of immersion.